Right guys, so another thing I was going to talk to you about is the importance of mindset. I think mindset in any business is really important because if you think about it, most people have their jobs, go to work, have that sort of mentality of just go to work, getting paid. Once you have your own business, on the other hand, it's a completely different scenario. You're going to have to be the person who's actually puts that drive into you that normally your employer would probably kind of dictate to you. So think of this as you're the employer and the employee in a way. So you have to be the person who's driving the business forward, making sure you're setting yourself those goals and targets. So for those to happen, you need to have the right mindset. And I didn't have the right mindset a couple of years ago because I was an employee myself, and it's really easy to fall into that trap of just following the path or whatever everyone laid out to you. And once you sort of realize that there's another way to live your life, which is the more entrepreneurial, having your own business and dictating your own life a little bit, then you kind of have to shift your mindset a little bit to being your own boss and actually have that drive to make sure that you move forward. Now, the way I've had the chance to sort of change my mindset was actually through a few really good books. Now, I know not everyone's keen on reading, and I certainly wasn't one of those. But there are different ways of doing it now, different ways of getting your education or entertainment or whatever you want to call it. But in this case, I just picked up audiobooks. So the same books that you're available in your paperbacks, you can get in audiobooks in most cases. Some of these books are really, really famous. They've been around for a long time, and there's a lot of very successful people out there who have used them and refer to them on a daily basis. So even some people who wrote new books have used some of these older books, for example, as a reference point to help people. Now, these audiobooks have been an absolutely fantastic addition. So one of the most favorite of mine is one that's called Think and Grow Rich, which you may have heard is from a guy called Napoleon Hill. It's a very old book, but everything in it still stands. It's very, very useful. It's basically, I would almost call it a textbook of how to actually change your mindset, how to develop that drive within you to then succeed. Because it almost breaks down every step in a very sort of detailed way of what you need to do, how you need to change your thinking. And it starts a lot of it with actually just having a belief in yourself. Now, it's an easier thing to say, but it's not so easy to achieve sometimes because obviously life is busy, you've got so many other things to focus on. But if you get to the point when you realize what is your goal in life, what is you really want to do, and then you believe in it truly, almost to the point where you turn into a bit of a faith, not just a belief, then you have a path where you can actually keep following and then you will be successful. Now obviously there's a lot more step to it, and I highly recommend you reading or listening to the book. But that certainly was one that really resonated with me and really helped me. Another thing is, we spoke about making cold calls to clients. We spoke about that, and that's another thing that any property business need to do, especially for packaging or deal sourcing, and even any other business. If you want to get deals from your agents, you need to make cold calls. Now, a really good book I read, again, not read, listened to, was something called Go for No, which is by Richard Fenton. And again, the whole principle of that book is actually making you realize that making calls and receiving no's as an answer is actually not a bad thing. It's a good thing and it's part of the game. But it also teaches you to set yourself different goals to what you would think that you should set. So what happens is most people set themselves yes goals. Okay, I'm going to make 50 phone calls and I'm going to achieve 5 yeses. While this book actually teaches you the opposite. You should set yourself no goals. Say, I'm going to make 50 calls and 45 of those has to be no's. And the reason behind it is because as soon as you achieve those no's, you will know that as a byproduct, you will have achieved your yeses as well. So it's a bit of a flip on the normal conventional thinking, but I definitely think that's helped me a lot, because all of a sudden, as soon as I realized that there is that sort of logic, then you can you pick up the phone easier than before. So I think for us, investors who have to make cold calls, I actually find that really useful. Is there anything that you found useful from a mindset point of view? I know I referred to books, but maybe there's something else worked for you, Peter.
It's good to mention these 2 books because that's the first 2 books I read myself. I mean, after a long time, of course, I read books before. Not too many. No, but really, this was one of the 2 best books. One is Think and Grow Rich, isn't it? It's a mindset. Yes. However, I had the exact opposite problem with regards to mindset. I have a too high mindset. I think I thought too much of myself when I was young, and I thought I can achieve much more than I think now. I know I wouldn't. I would never. I never said never, but I think my expectation was too high for myself to achieve, and that's why a lot of times I fell down. From my life, my background, I'm doing business from literally 18 years old, and I had a lot of ups and downs. And most of the times when I was really down, I always decided business is not for me, because obviously if I was so good, and I was thinking I'm good, then I wouldn't be in this position. But of course, as you're growing and as you're achieving more and as you're learning, maybe after hitting the 40 and even above, it helps as well. So you sometimes just figure out the life. It's just like this. In a lot of people, billionaires, saying if you never fell down a few times from high, you can't call yourself as an expert in experienced someone, because in business you need to fall down a few times. You need to start from scratch in order to achieve that point, and this is the biggest lesson I learned, and maybe that's why I became more mature, maybe from now, like I was in younger age. So as I said, I read the book Think and Grow Rich, and I felt it's a really great book. I would really suggest to read to anybody, because it's a big difference between just want something or I really think I can achieve that, or I just want something or I really think I can get that, and get the expectation as high as possible, but not too high. Obviously, even if you can achieve anything, there has to be steps. So even if I can achieve what I wanted to achieve when I was young, I might be able to achieve, but you have to have like steps, stages to go there. You can't just jump on. You can't just jump on from nowhere from became a billionaire.
Yes.
That's what I thought I can do.
Yeah.
When I was young. So, but yes, you're right. Most of the people has very low expectations and they don't believe in themselves. It's the same problem, same issue. Eventually, you need to find out, figure out yourself. And another thing, psychology. Behind this cold course, absolutely. I never read this book and I never even heard about it, only a few months ago. But when I did the cold course, I wanted to hear a no. Otherwise, there is no way. You are so stupid. You want to put through yourself on the shit. I mean, when you calling people and keep calling every day and just no, you know, especially when you have no experience and the agent calling, okay, how many property you have, blah, 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 and you have nothing. There's no way anybody gonna put themselves through this kind of experience, bad experience. So I wanted to hear no. I embraced the no. That's why I called them to hear the no. And that's how I helped myself, and that's how I just wanted to hear, and I just wanted to handle the objections. And you know, after a certain time, I find it's completely changed me. And this is one of the things that's why I'm always teaching to people, whoever students or mentees we have. I'm always telling them, embrace the no. You want the no, you don't want a deal. You just want their numbers, you just want their email, and that's all you want. Because that's the only thing you can get through this. And another thing, I can guarantee, if you don't give up, if you give up, you're never gonna go nowhere. If you don't give up, it's gonna completely change your life. Yeah. Nothing in this world can help you become a better of yourself, a better businessman, a better salesman. Because don't forget, in any business, if you are not good salesman, you're nobody. You're nothing unless you hire the best salesmen in your company. Then you can get your company somewhere. But important. I'm always believing I have to be the best salesman, and my team has to be the best salesman. That's why I'm always telling you guys, we don't need to deal. We are a property investment and sourcing company, but we don't need to deal with guests and tenants and all this stuff. We need to deal with the sales part and let hire people and do their job, because that's the most important thing. And the cold course is making the best salesperson.
Absolutely. I think the only other thing I would add to the mindset side of things is developing a sense of persistence within yourself. Again, I think is also hugely beneficial. It's very easy to get knocked back and knocked down, after hearing no's. Yeah, even though you know that you should set yourself no targets based on the book we just discussed, but it's still easy to get knocked back by all the no's you're getting. So developing that sense of persistence, being really persistent and keep going after that goal that you set yourself, I think is a key mindset piece for you to actually get there.